So MSI has a few cool laptops at CES this year. We're not at the show floor, we're actually covering it virtually, but they were kind enough to fly way in advance to showcase some of these new laptops here at the studio in Montreal. So it's a good change of scenery for me because, usually I'm at the Toronto studio. But anyways, this stuff revolves around the new Intel's 14th Gen series. So we have two platforms, the HX, which is essentially a Raptor Lake refresh, and the Core Ultra series, which is the Meteor Lake stuff that comes with the new NPU, which is a neural processing unit that's mostly catered towards like AI computation and designed for certain applications that can take advantage of that chip. We most likely would have an explained video about Intel's new CPUs, so be sure to check that out. I'll make sure to leave a link down below if in case you've missed that. So let's get things off with the main star of the show, which is the MSI TITAN 18HX. Now this is a different naming scheme compared to the previous GT or GS series because they're actually going through a little bit of a rebrand with this year's lineup. So if you find a laptop with an HX at the very end, that means it's going to come with an Intel 14th Gen Raptor Lake CPU. If you're looking for something with the Core Ultra series, it's going to come with an AI phrase. And I know AI is a new catchphrase, so they're trying to really market that laptop with the new NPU chip in it. So it's really interesting. I'm curious to see why and how that's going to affect sales, but yeah, AI is a new catchphrase, so they're bringing it to the laptops. So what's really new with the TITAN 18HX? The first thing I noticed right away is that it's sleeker than the GT77 Titan. So they've actually made it somewhat smaller. So as you can see, you don't have that massive extension in the back from the GT77. They've actually shrunken it down a little bit. So it's somewhat compact, even though it is a fairly large laptop. They've made it somewhat portable, I guess that's the right word to put it. They've certainly simplified the design of the TITAN 18HX, which I do appreciate. MSI has also included a cool 3D cooling base on the D cover, which also helps with airflow. Essentially, it has little vents with the rubber feet that allows for more air to draw in, which is, I think is a pretty brilliant idea. And hopefully that does help with temperatures because these Raptor Lake CPUs are expected to draw more power. Plus, I think it's a great design touch. I will say that this new laptop is slightly heavier compared to the GT77 Titan. The whole chassis is made out of a combination of aluminum and plastic components, but it's put together really well. The interior space comes with a full-size keyboard. Now these keys do feature Cherry MX low-profile mechanical switches. I'm not typically a huge fan of them, but they've actually split those switches between the main sort of typing area and the numpads. So the numpads are actually non-mechanical, which I like more compared to the mechanical switches. So I wish they just made it consistent and call it a day. But yeah, it's something that I thought was a bit odd. Perhaps the most interesting thing about this laptop is this massive integrated RGB haptic trackpad. So they've essentially replaced the whole palm rest area with a massive glass surface, and you have the trackpad right in the middle, but it's integrated so you don't have that sort of differentiation between the trackpad and the palm rest area. I think it's a pretty cool feature that makes it stand out from the competition, and the haptics work really well too. So yeah, I'm just really excited to test out the production sample and put it to my everyday use to see if it's actually any good, because it is a glass surface, and as you all know, I love anything that's precision glass. The I/O on the TITAN 18HX is very generous. You have tons of USB Type-A ports, Thunderbolt 4 ports, an RJ45 port, HDMI, and just a lot more. So again, these laptops are catered towards desktop replacement, so you're essentially not compromising on the I/O. You have everything that you need to connect all of your accessories and your displays and all that stuff. So that's appreciated. I do appreciate the fact that some of them are located at the back for easier cable management. It's something that the GT77 Titan lacked. So that's a welcoming feature. I should also mention that the included power supply is smaller compared to the previous generation, but it also boasts a higher power rating. So it's a 400 watt power supply compared to a 330 watt power supply. The display on the Titan is also top tier. You're getting a 4K mini LED 120 Hz display. This is probably one of the best displays that you can find on a gaming laptop. MSI is planning on rolling out different SKUs with high refresh rates at Quad HD Plus resolution, but because this is sort of their hero product in the gaming series, they wanted to give it the best tech or the best specs they possibly can. And at this point, you're getting one of the best and brighter displays on the market. It's a 16:10 display, so you have plenty of room for all sorts of activities, like whether you're editing videos or gaming or just doing anything else. It's just an awesome screen to work with. Now, because this is their flagship gaming laptop, expect the fastest specs that you possibly can. So RTX 4090, probably the fastest 14th Gen HX series CPU that can probably, and I believe can draw up to 270 watts of TGP, so both CPU and GPU combined. Plus, It also has a new vapor chamber cooling system, which is supposed to help with dissipating all the heat, which I think is a must-have considering how much power these components are going to be drawing. And in terms of upgradability, once again, MSI hasn't compromised in that department. You have 4 M.2 modules, which allows you to expand the memory up to 128 gigabytes. And you also have 3 M.2 SSDs. So you can literally take this thing up to 8 terabytes if you really want and not complain about running out of storage for your games. Now, finally, in terms of price, I don't have an official word on this yet, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's gonna cost around 5 to 5.5K, which is a lot of money, but again, that's what you would expect from a laptop packed with so much performance. So yeah, it ain't gonna come cheap.
Earth, she is beautiful. I have my favorite spots in nature to observe and visit, and I'm sure you do too. And I feel we all need a little beauty in our daily computer life, something that reminds you a case can be special too, feeling proud of your process to get there, partially to showcase your lifestyle with this one component that is surprisingly organic, both in design and hardware fitment. It's not just a case, it's a Terra, available only on our beautiful Earth.
The Stealth series is also getting a refresh. This one in particular is the Stealth 18 AI, and as you can tell, AI means that it's going to come with that Core Ultra chip. Plus, you can configure it with up to an RTX 4090. This laptop is strictly catered towards creators who also like to game as well, and it comes in this really cool lightweight form factor. The whole chassis is made out of magnesium and aluminum components, so it keeps the weight in check. I believe it is almost 3 kilos, and it's about an inch thin, so it's a very lightweight laptop for a 18-inch form factor, which is kind of neat. It's about the same size as the Titan 18HX. The build quality, it's put together really well. I appreciate the cleaner aesthetics on the outside. It's very simple. It doesn't scream gamery to my eyes, other than the MSI logo, of course. Now, when we take a look at the interior space, the first thing that you're going to notice are these 2 massive speaker grills that have the stainless steel plate. There are 6 speakers in total. You have 2 woofers at the bottom and 4 at the top. And MSI has told us that they're supposed to sound better, but because it's a pre-production sample, we weren't able to test it out, and it still needs a lot of fine-tuning. And you get a full-size keyboard with a numpad, fingerprint sensor. I actually really like the keys. It's just feels much better compared to the mechanical keyboard on the Titan 18HX. The trackpad is nice. It's a glass surface. It's very smooth. Appreciate the cleaner look. As for ports, I think MSI has been really generous with the Stealth 18. So just like the Titan 18HX, you'll find a lot of them at the back. For easier cable management, there are a few distributed towards the left and right hand side. There is a full-size SD card slot, which is a really thoughtful feature for creators, but I'm not sure if it's UHS-1 or UHS-2. I'm still waiting for confirmation from MSI on that, but I'll make sure to maybe add an update in the description or probably in the video when I do hear back from MSI. I'm really curious to see what the performance is like with the new Core Ultra chips and compared to the 14 Gen HX series CPUs. I'm also curious to see what that new AI chip is going to do with applications that utilize that feature. Again, a lot of this requires optimization, and with Windows and these new chips, it's going to take time for everything to be optimized. So stay tuned for a full review. That's going to be an interesting one. But I want to shift gears to something that I'm actually more excited about, and that is the budget-oriented laptop. So this right here is the MSI Cyborg 14. It's our entry-level gaming laptop. It's supposed to start at $899, I believe, and you can configure it with up to an RTX 4050. But I just love the form factor of this laptop. This is supposed to compete with the Zephyrus G14 from Asus, but MSI has actually taken a smarter approach with this laptop. So instead of harnessing Intel's brand new shiny 14 Gen HX series CPUs or the Meteor Lake Core Ultra stuff, they're actually utilizing Intel's 13 Gen HX series processors. So they're bringing the high performance chips into the newer design IDs, which also allows them to market it at a lower price point. So you're still gonna get great performance. 13 Gen chips are not slower, but it's still a great chip for gaming and for creator stuff. Again, because this is a budget-oriented laptop, you're not gonna get top-tier build quality. So the whole chassis is made out of plastic materials, but I do appreciate the transparent bits around the chassis. So we have one here at the notch, and also at the back, the whole D cover is this translucent material, which I think is a really nice touch. You can see the copper cooling pipes over here for the cooling system, as well as the M.2 SSD. I think it's really cool. Now, because it's a 14-inch laptop, it is super portable. This thing weighs less than 4 pounds, and it's about 0.87 inches thin. So again, this thing will easily fit into my backpack, no problem. And I see this being super popular among students who are getting into university or just anyone looking for an entry-level gaming laptop. Now, just like taking a few compromises with build quality, MSI did cut down a few of the features. For instance, you're not getting RGB lighting. Instead, MSI's replaced it with a single zone blue lighting system with the keys. The keys themselves are pretty good. It's not as good as the Stealth 18 laptop, but I wish it had just a little bit more travel. But other than that, it gets the job done. You're getting a pretty basic trackpad. It's 16:10 display, which is really nice. I believe it's a full HD plus 144 hertz panel, so just plenty enough to get on and game. As for the I/O, you get a few USB Type-A ports, a single Type-C port. Unfortunately, this one does not have Thunderbolt 4, even though it has an Intel CPU, but it has a full-size HDMI port and an RJ45 port at the back for, I guess, easier cable management, although I would have preferred to have a few of those ports at the back. So yeah, guys, that's the Cyborg 14. I am excited to review this laptop because just again, that price point is really attractive and I just want to see how far it can hold up with the rest of the laptops. But yeah, moving on, we have a few devices from their Prestige series. So this over here is the Prestige 16 and what I have over here is the Prestige 13. Now they have a few other form factors to complete this series. These laptops are a little bit different compared to the gaming stuff that MSI offers. So first and foremost, these things come with NVIDIA's studio drivers, so they're strictly geared towards content creation. They also feature the new Intel Meteor Lake CPUs and they're Intel Evo certified. So that means you're gonna get all those features like instant wake, better battery life, because these things come with 99.9 watt-hour batteries, or at least the 16-inch model. The 14-inch or the 13-inch comes with a 73 or 75 milliamp hour battery, which I think is pretty big considering the form factor. But yeah, you're getting all the features of Intel Evo. And the thing that you're going to notice in terms of performance is that they're going to be running at lower TGPs compared to the gaming stuff. So there's less power allocated towards the CPU and the GPU. But other than that, the build quality is pretty good. I mean, the whole chassis is made out of magnesium and aluminum components. The keyboard it could use some more work. I wish they brought the stuff from the Stealth laptop into the Prestige series because there's a little bit more travel, but this one just lacks that. And it does not have RGB lighting, so that's something to take note of. The trackpad is massive and it's pretty smooth to navigate with. It is a glass surface, so that definitely helps with navigation. Now, in terms of the displays on these laptops, they're all gonna feature OLED, so you're gonna get those deeper blacks and vibrant colors. The only thing you're gonna be compromising is on peak brightness or SDR brightness when you max it out. Usually OLEDs, they tend to get around 400 nits or a little bit less than that, but I'm not sure about these particular samples, so I'm gonna have to test that out in the full review. But yeah, great panels. I do want to mention that there is a slight design difference between the 16 and the 13. So for instance, when you open the 16-inch laptop, the hinge doesn't actually lift the chassis for better airflow, whereas with the 13-inch, it actually elevates the keyboard at an angle, which allows for better airflow. The one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is that the Prestige laptops don't come with a lot of ports. Now the 16 in particular only features one USB Type-A port, which is not a lot to work with. You have a few Thunderbolt 4 ports, but yeah, I mean, for a creator, I feel like having more USB ports is nice. Plus, I'm not sure if this is a UHS 2 full-size SD card slot, so I'm still waiting for confirmation from MSI on that. That being said, these laptops feature fast charge over Thunderbolt 4, which I think is a nice touch. Well, there you have it, guys. We weren't able to cover every MSI laptop that was announced at CES, but these are some of the highlights of the show. Let us know which one you like the most. Is it the Titan? Is it the Stealth? Is it the Cyborg? Or the Prestige series, and which one are you more keen to learn about the most? Let us know in the comments down below. I'm Meteor with Hardware Canucks. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.